Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your technical critic, and I know, I haven't done this in a while. You're probably wondering, where's the Season 3 discussion that we were promised? Where's the Season 2 list that you were supposed to put out months ago? Where is anything? I know, I'm late. But you know what? I've had a lot of stuff to do. I've been searching for a new hard drive so I can continue to make these videos because I ran out of... Alexandra is 7 years old. She has run out of memory. In computer time, she might as well be 70, right? Computers age 10 times as faster. She's 70 years old. She has Alzheimer's. She doesn't remember anything anymore. On top of that, I've also been trying, for all you Avatar fans out there, if you can help me with this, I'd be very grateful, but I've been trying for weeks now to get a writer, one of the writers for Avatar Korra, to come and do a podcast with myself and several other very knowledgeable people so that we can have an actual discussion. Go, spam them. Tell them that the Technical Critic sent you. Okay? And tell them to direct them to my page. Direct them to my email. Have them send me something, right? Because I'm doing this for you. But on top of all that, the one thing that has occupied the majority of my YouTube time is fighting Viacom over the copyright of one of my videos. Yes, for my season finale, because I sat here like this, while the sound was playing in the background, they slapped me with a copyright strike. Which means, one, I can't put videos into the editor. I have to make them all in one shot. I can't put customized thumbnails in front of them. I can't even make videos that are longer than 15 minutes. For those of you who are born after 2002, this is known as an alarm clock. If you're wondering why there's a hole in it, it's because it fell out of a two-story window at one point. That's not that's not important. When that hand reaches there, I've got to stop this video. So we're going to try this. We're going to try to do a under 15 minutes review. So let's begin. Of all the films that came out in the last month or so, the one that I'm reviewing right now is from the Toronto International Film Festival. It's called The Imitation Game. For those of you who are Benedict Cumberbatch fans, you may have already heard of this. And it won the film festival's People's Choice Awards. Did my vote count? Maybe, but I'm not going to say. This film has just so much packed into it. It's poignant, it's dramatic, it's got a great story, and it's talking about someone who, it doesn't matter what you are, if you're a geek, if you're a regular person, whatever, you should be recognizing this man. This film is about Alan Turing, who invented the Turing machine. And for any of you who are born before 1980, I think you know what I'm getting at. The Turing machine was the predecessor to the computer. This is the man who invented the computer. Why did he invent the computer? Well, the movie tells us. During 1939, at the start of the war, the Germans had a machine called the Enigma machine. It was able to make 159,000 trillion. That's a number that most of you will not recognize, so I'm saying 1,000 trillion. Take a trillion and multiply by 1,000 times. That is how many combinations this machine had. With the exception of God, no person could break this. Alan Turing said, okay, no person can break it, but maybe a machine can do it. And so he went and he built his machine, and thanks to a couple of German slip-ups, it passed. It did the work, and it won the war. It even says the war was shortened probably by 2 years because of his work. And this is the film that Monuments Men wanted to be, and by all rights should have been. I mean, it's telling a little-known historical, but extremely important story that was a part of World War II. It is a behind-the-scenes look into the things that helped to win the war effort, not unlike Red Tails in 2012. Monuments Men should have been this grand adventure to save all the paintings of Europe from going up in flames. Instead, it fell flat. This one is about the desperate, and I do mean desperate, attempt to break the Enigma code in order to stop the war. Although I will say this, they forgot to cover one thing. There was not one Enigma machine, but two Enigma machines. What happened was, the Germans had one for regular transcommunication, but they had one with a fourth wheel. So add on another quadrillion or so settings that it could be set to, which was used for the German High Command. Turing's machine was so advanced that it could decode it faster than the German Enigma machines could. It is truly amazing. Truly, truly amazing. This is the extent of his genius. You guys know, I've said it before, I have a math degree. It's sitting right over there, gathering dust. So, something like cryptography, that is a must. I know this story. But walking out of that, I got it immediately, but walking out of that cinema, just the regular people who knew absolutely nothing about it, they were standing in groups talking about this film, what they found interesting, asking, well, what was that? What was that? I basically went from group to group to group, saying, well, this was that was that, and that was that. Explaining the whole thing. And then I went home. That was the extent of what I did after the movie. However, and this movie has so many big stars. Besides having Benedict Cumberbatch, they pull every single great English actor from every popular TV show you can imagine. Who's there besides Sherlock? Well, for one thing, Charles Dance, who, for those of you who are Game of Thrones fans, you will know him as Tywin Lannister. Alan Leach, he was the chauffeur who stole Lady Sybil's heart in Downton Abbey. Even the most obscure roles have recognizable faces. Tom Goodman Hill, he plays the head manager in a little show called Mr. Selfridge. It's an English show. It's a great thing to watch if you're in between seasons of Downton Abbey. And for any of you Nymphomaniac fans out there, the assistant director, James Northcote, makes an appearance as one of the minor characters, who I'm not going to say, but he's there. There's two Middleton sisters in this movie, for Christ's sake. They fill every single role with a named talent. The problem is this: it's not the film itself, and it's not the people who are in the film. It's the subject matter of the film. Because when people think World War II movie, they don't care unless there's a big battle in the middle somewhere where people are firing. But it's an inherent prejudice that goes along with war films. There has to be some kind of mission into enemy territory, or a battle, or something, because other than that, it carries the stigma of being non-action. And that's the one thing with this movie. Another thing I would say, and I hate to say it, but unfortunately Keira Knightley is in this movie, and she does not hold her own amongst her fellow actors. Now, I'm not maligning the poor girl. She's an excellent actress. Look at her in Black Swan. She did magnificently. But here, she's not inhabiting the role or bringing any intensity. Benedict Cumberbatch is Alan Turing. For the duration of this film, all 118 minutes of it, he is Alan Turing. Charles Dance is the dickish commanding officer. Alan Leach, he's the Soviet double agent. They all inhabit their roles. Kira feels like she's here to pick up a paycheck. Like, this is something that she's doing in between projects, and it shows because of every time she goes on screen, the pace immediately slows down, and she feels like she feels wooden. She feels like if you took a cardboard cutout and stuck it there, you'd get the exact same thing, just if you put dialogue behind it. I can only hope that with the recommendations of critics like me, the star power that this film brings to the screen, and just everything, and just hopefully everything else going right for it, that this film does well. However, unfortunately, I must predict, I'm going to call it, and I know I pray I'm wrong, but this film is going to flop. This film is going to flop hard, simply because people are not interested in seeing war movies that are not about war. It's just the inherent prejudice. It's got nothing to do with the actors. It's just how people think about film. So that's been my review. Go out and see it. One other thing I would mention, this was not an issue for me, but I could see it becoming an issue with a lot of people. They focus on the fact that Alan Turing was a homosexual. God bless him. Nothing No one in the history of the world who ever did anything important and good ever survives unscathed. I mean, Monuments Men is a testament to that. I guess the highlighting of his homosexuality in this film is, quite frankly, I don't care that he was a homosexual. He did a marvelous thing. And he was a marvelous person. But you know what? I know that it's highlighting the prejudice he faced in 1950s society, and the fact that it was what killed him is truly and utterly horrible. And completely deplorable, but I don't know, it feels almost like something that should have been at best a side plot for the modern audience was turned into the main part of the story. I mean, I know his homosexuality was important and it is the reason that he died. And as I said, I'm fine with it. They show his childhood romance with his boyhood friend and how that later leads on to the events of Decoding Enigma. And it doesn't bother me, but I do see how some people would be like, well, look, they're just doing it so they could promote it again. No, they're not doing it. That was actually something that happened. Get over yourselves. Be educated. I mean, they even state at the end of the film that he did not receive a pardon for what was at the time termed to be the crime of homosexuality until 2013, when the Queen granted him a royal pardon about 70 years after he died. Oh, well, yeah, it's nice to be remembered, I suppose, is the point of that. But anyways, so that's been my review. It's an excellent movie. Please go see it. I'm begging you to go see it. Please see this movie when it hits theaters in October. I cannot stress that enough. You're going to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, come back here and I'll tell you why you didn't, and I'll explain the whole thing to you. I promise. This has been my technical critique, and I will see you in the next review.